but we're really late on this. But we have decided to make a video about the death of Mitch Lucker. And Mitch Lucker died last Thursday, I believe, was it?
November 1st.
November 1st. That would be last Thursday. Whatever day it was. But yeah. And so we're just going to make a video sending our condolences out to him and his daughter and his family and his band and everything like that. So, what do you have to say?
I've seen Suicide Silence twice. And the first time I saw Mayhem, 2011, I was so into that band. I waited up front and I was so excited. When I got to be that close to Mitch, he threw an energy drink all over me and it made me all sticky. Mitch got me all sticky. But I don't know, it was just really cool being up that close, and like I really idolized that band for such a while. Like they were one of the first like deathcore. I guess deathcore is one of the first like really heavy metal genres that I got into. So this is probably one of the very first heavy metal bands that I got into, like extreme metal, heavy metal, whatever you want to call it. It was one of the first bands, and I really idolized them for like such a long time. Mitch Lucker, I always thought he was one of the best vocalists ever. The second time I saw him was with Machine Head, and I was just on my phone looking at Twitter, and I saw a tweet from Mitch. It was like, oh, I'm going to be hanging out at our merch table. So I'm like, dude, I like run out there, and it's like, I think it was, may have been during when Machine Head was playing, and I was just waiting out there, and it seemed like forever. Like I was just waiting and waiting, missing Machine Head, just waiting, and then I see Mitch just walking around. I'm like, Mitch Lucker, and like I just started talking to him a little bit and stuff, and he was kind of, I feel like he was under the influence of something, but he was kind of a little weird, but that's always expected. But you know, he was just really nice though. Like I was like, hey, can I get a picture with you? He's like, yeah, of course. I'm like, wow, that's like, I don't know, it's just nice about it. Cause you know, some guys from bands will be like, hey, can I get a picture? Yeah, sure, I guess. You know, it's like, oh, well, sorry, I didn't mean to, you know, spend money to pay a ticket to come watch you assholes for you to just be, oh, I guess you can have a picture. But he was just really nice and courteous about it. And it just really says a lot when a musician, like, in a band that big can still be nice and not have an ego. Like, I know if I was Mitch Lucker, I would just, you know, everyone else sucks, I'm the best. You know, like, that's the kind of ego I might have, just because it's fucking Mitch Lucker, and so many people feel that way. But he's just a really, really cool guy, and I feel like, I mean, like them or not, Suicide Silence definitely made, like, one of the biggest impact on, you know, like, whatever you would call it, like, underground metal, or, you know, even though it's not really underground, it's nothing that's on the radio. They made such an impact for bands that, like, they just paved the way for bands, like, I don't know, any band that just came out, like, after them, that, because there's so many bands that, like, just have so much influence from them, and, like, I don't know, they really did change the metal world a lot. I mean, you have to admit that, but, yeah, it really sucks that Mitch died. Nothing's gonna be the same again. Yeah, so go fucking nuts.
I unfortunately never got to meet Mitch Lucker, and I really wish that I was able to now that he's passed. But I was able to see Suicide Silence 3 times, at Mayhem in Machine Head that Sam mentioned. First time I saw them headline at the Trocadero, which was just awesome. Like, they put on such a devastating show for being a headliner, and like, that was one of the Suicide Silence as well as one of the very first really, really heavy bands that I got into. Just, they have such a crushing, I always thought they had a very unique sound when it comes to deathcore or death metal or metal in general. They have a unique sound, and I think Mitch Lucker really, really made them unique. Like, with his vocals, you could think they might have the most brutal, like Whitechapel-like vocals. So, I mean, not saying that Mitch Lucker couldn't get brutal. He got fucking brutal, especially on the cleansing and shit. But his higher screens and his whole way of doing things, I thought was really unique. And you know, it's. I was in my architecture class when I found out that Mitch Lucker passed away, and I was like, wow, that really sucks. But it didn't really hit me until I got home, and I was just sitting around, and I kept thinking about it, like it wouldn't leave my mind. And it's very it's a shame that he passed away. And what was I gonna say? Oh, when me and Sam saw Suicide Silence in February with Machine Head, looking back at that, it's really hard to believe that within the year that Mitch Lucker would no longer be around. Like, that's one thing that I kept thinking about, and it's very saddening to think about. And like Sam was saying, Suicide Silence really had an impact on metal in general, if you ask me. I remember seeing, like, in magazines that No Time to Bleed, like, one of the best albums of the year, and so groundbreaking, and this and that, and, you know, when you see that stuff, you know, it's a pretty big deal, and they became such a big force, and they were becoming a bigger force, and they would be becoming a bigger force. So it's a real big shame, you know. Whether he was under the influence of alcohol or not, it's still very tragic to lose such a powerful figure in metal. So that's what I was.
Just thinking about it, like about Suicide Silence, like you might think, oh, Suicide Silence isn't that big of a deal, and I hear that sound everywhere. It's like they set the standard for that sound, though, in a lot of ways. Like, sure, they didn't invent the blast beat or the breakdown or the high scream or anything like that, but they definitely, like, revolutionized it. Like, Alex Lopez is, like, his blast beats are just insane. And, like, I was watching this video the other day, and even when I saw him live, you might think, oh, it doesn't sound right, it doesn't sound like it does in the studio, but Mitch Lucker, his high screams will go beyond high. And the weirdest thing about it is, he's holding the mic out here, and his like, and, you know, you might think like, oh, when someone's singing they can hold the mic out there. It's like, when you actually do it, it's just, it's easier said than done, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, he just holds the microphone, like, out here, like, so far away, and you can still hear, like, his highs that go higher than they do on the studio. So high that they just sound ear-piercing, and, like, just, like, I don't know, just, like, they would shatter glass or something. But, it's just, I don't know, he was really one of a kind. I mean, it just really sucks that he's gone now, and, yeah.
Our condolences go out to Suicide Silence and Mitch's daughter and family. Yep. So, rest in peace, Mitch Lucker.